Hello and welcome to another fantastic edition of the Black and White podcast. We've got White James, we've got Black James, and Black James. We are officially coining the catchphrase, giving the people what they need as the official slogan for the Black and White podcast.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. It's just what the doctor ordered, just what your TV service provider has ordered. We had a great discussion about that last week. Things are evolving in that space as well, but holy smokes, a whole lot has happened from last week to this week.
Yeah, so we're gonna keep things a little short tonight. It's a little bit of a late night edition of the Black and White for us. White James has a bedtime coming up here, and we're gonna try to get to it. Yep, that's we need an old man sound drop for me.
Good point.
Oh, my back,
Wanna get,
no, they don't get off my lawn, something like
oh, I hear you.
something like that,
We'll
something
get
like
that.
that. We'll work on that, but that's for next season. That's for next season. So Black James, very simple show tonight. We're gonna talk golf.
Yes, sir.
We talk about big victory for Team Black James this weekend.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
We're gonna hit NBA playoffs. Got conference finals kicking off here. But Black James, oh yeah, playoffs. Black James, we have a big announcement.
Let's do it.
Huge announcement for the fans of the show, of the Black and White podcast. Black James, we are going to officially announce the first potentially annual Black and White golf outing. Let's go.
Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. We need you to show up at a golf course to be determined Sunday, June 30th. Is that the correct date, White James?
That is the correct date, Sunday, June 30th. Time to be determined, location to be determined, but this is a save the date, a audio save the date, if you will. Golfers, non-golfers, whomever you are out there, listener, non-listener, if you know somebody who just wants to have a great time on a Sunday afternoon, hanging out with Black James, with White James, with the Hebrew Hammer, hit us up. It is officially a Google invite.
Yes,
Black
sir.
James
Yes,
send that out to
sir.
you. They've put it in the calendar, put it in the Google calendar. Um, we're still hashing out the details here, but this is an exciting opportunity for us to interact with listeners, some of which who probably will be people we know, some of which probably people who we might not know as well. So we'll see who all turns out.
And don't forget, you may be able to grab some exclusive black and white merch.
Yeah, I
Just
kind of
gotta.
threw that on there because I know. I mean, kind of my personal motto: under promise, over deliver. So we're not promising there will be merchandise because that would be foolish to do. But we're just saying there is the possibility. It's not like it's a tornado watch versus a tornado warning. We have a merchandise watch
Yes.
here, right? It's not an imminent threat, but the ingredients could all come together for potential merchandise. Black James, I hope you did heed the warnings yesterday and were in your safe space when the storms came through Madison.
Yes, I was.
Good thing we weren't recording yesterday. Let's put it that way. But Black James, so June 30th, we'll see you out on the course. There will also be a black and white driving range session, probably a few weeks prior, because your boy has not picked up a golf club since September 2022. Wow. So
Holy smokes.
I'm a lot of practice. So we're gonna have to get me out there. I'm gonna be feeling it the next day, but yeah, we're gonna make this happen. It's happening.
It's happening.
Giving the people what they need. So from the hack golfers to the actual professional golfers.
Well done.
Black James, I want you to well, we're not we're let's hold on the golf for a second because we have to get to what happened at the tournament that wasn't on the course. Black James, give us your thoughts. You said you had 3 minutes on this, so I'm giving you 3 minutes on the Scotty Scheffler arrest and everything that transpired after. Black James, the floor is yours.
You know, no one would have thought you could put Scotty Scheffler alongside an arrest. For those of you who are new to the game of golf, imagine Ned Flanders come to life. I told people a few weeks ago that Scotty is the type of golfer to do a Bible study podcast the day after winning a tournament. He is truly the most graceful and humble world number one the sport has ever seen. And for White James and Black James to wake up on Friday morning with this video all over the internet.
Guys,
Dude,
I'm staying back.
Here's the thing. Right now, he's going to jail.
Who's going to jail? Scotty Scheffler going to jail over a huge pile of BS. I like to hold my composure on this show, but White James, I will help people paint a picture in their mind. Just imagine you're trying to go to work. It's 5:30 in the morning. It's foggy. It's raining. And you're at a long line of cars trying to inch their way into the employee parking lot. Everyone's crawling along 2-3 miles an hour, no faster than a brisk walk. And all of a sudden, again, it's pitch dark outside. Some rando starts pounding on your windows, starts pulling at your door handles. The car's locked. You don't know what's going on, but there's a whole bunch of cars in front of you, so you can't really do anything other than just stop the car and see if you can figure out what the heck's going on. You're just trying to get to work on time. It's the middle of the morning, pitch dark. Clearly, there's something causing traffic up ahead, and before you know it, you're in handcuffs and your mugshot is all across the United States. And this is where my explanation is going to turn into more of a rant, because White James, Scotty Scheffler is, it cannot be repeated enough, a representative of what you want your kids to be as a grown person, a role model when it comes to the world of sports. And so to see that mugshot on ABC World News tonight, just minutes after they had done the Diddy story, which I won't say much more, but people who've seen the video know what's going on. It's just beyond ridiculous to think that a terribly run tournament in, if you ask me, is the last time the PGA of America will ever hold a tournament in the great state of Kentucky, let alone the city of Louisville. To think that it's so poorly run that not only did someone lose their life, which is what people should really understand about what was the preceding incident to all of this, but somebody lost their life, and in the woeful inability of Louisville PD to safely organize traffic flow around that horrible fatality, they had police officers in unmarked raincoats giving athletes improper directions, so much so that a man who would never, ever disobey the thin blue line is now made out to be a criminal. And I say that all in joking manner. Of course, I expect these charges to be dropped. Of course, I trust and believe that every single member of the PGA Tour knows that this was a horrible mistake on behalf of the Valhalla logistics team, not Scotty's decision-making process. But yeah, White James, I'm just incredibly pissed that the non-golfing world thinks, oh, great, Tiger has a mugshot because he's an irresponsible driver, and now here's this other golfer who has a mugshot, and then they're just going to insert woefully incorrect characterizations of a guy who I think has done a really great job keeping his nose clean.
Like James, it's funny because I was just trying to share my screen because I have pulled up side by sides Scotty Scheffler, Tiger Woods, and John Daly.
Oh,
the holy the the holy trinity of 21st century golf mug shots. You got the other two. Well, we know Tiger. He was had 5 drugs in his system and was sleeping in his car and got charged with DUI. John Daly famously arrested intoxicated outside of Hooters in North Carolina in 2008. Those two don't quite, different circumstances. Same result here with the mugshot, but certainly different circumstances. I think Black James, credit to you for painting the picture. You lost me when you said get to work on time. I'm not really familiar with that concept. I would be like, oh yeah, I couldn't come in. There was traffic. I didn't make it. But in all seriousness, yes, there was a fatality that was causing all sorts of chaos outside the grounds. Is it never have a tournament there again? I don't know if I'm ready to go that far, but I understand from a logistical standpoint, there were clearly a lot left to be desired, especially for somewhere that has hosted major tournaments in the past. Like this concept of getting the golfers able to be getting in and out easily shouldn't be a foreign concept to them. I mean, I can just picture, we had the GMO, Greater Milwaukee Open here,
shout out
Brown Deer Golf Course, 20 some years ago. I mean, I can understand because golf courses are laid out over a large piece of property, and there's only so many spots where people can come in and out. I understand logistically, this isn't like having a stadium in the middle of a giant parking lot, getting people in and out easy. Golf course is a little different. I get it. But yes, a lot left to be desired. No body cam footage, apparently. Officer did not turn it on, which is, it feels irresponsible. The Louisville Police Department has had a checkered past with incidents that had nothing to do with sports, and that's another discussion for another show. So the fact they're in the headlines again for all the wrong reasons, it's not a good look. And having the police chief coming out saying, "Oh, we need to review our protocols," like that's
get out of here.
Like get out of here, Black James. Like come on. I'll give you my hot take. It's not even a hot take. It's just an observation.
Please.
And I feel more empowered after our talk last week about sports media and how we consume it. That this is kind of what has always interested me. I mean, I went to at Marquette. I had a broadcasting major. I wasn't so much interested in the on-camera stuff. I was really interested in the theory and kind of the understanding of like what a TV executive is thinking. Like I was very interested in that aspect of broadcasting. And in my opinion, in my undergrad opinion, ESPN nowadays loves anything that doesn't have to do with the actual sports, where they can, where their audience is no longer Black James who wants to see the golf highlights. It's anybody because they heard, oh, the number 1 golfer in the world got arrested. Let's talk about that for 4 hours. Like there was live golf going on. I know the start was delayed because of the fog and the accident, everything that was going on Friday morning, but there was live golf going on, and ESPN would rather talk about this arrest for hours and get every different talking head's opinion about what's happening, what's going through these guys' head, like all this non-sports related talk. ESPN absolutely loves to do that. Like they have turned it into less sports and more entertainment. And when I'm watching this, like I'm watching it Friday morning, and I'm just like, okay, we get it. He was arrested. Here he is. He shows up at the course. You got Marty Smith, documenting every little thing.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, I get it, but this is a golf tournament. Can we see some golf? So, to me, this fell directly into ESPN's lap because let's be honest, the PGA Championship, it is the lesser of all the majors.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people are going to be tuning in on a Friday morning. So I saw a great meme. It said, oh, ESPN executive, we're going to struggle for ratings. Oh, let's have the number one golfer arrested and, see what that does for ratings. So it was a real surreal moment in sports that, quite frankly, I can't ever remember such an event happening. Maybe you can, but I mean, this wasn't OJ Simpson, right? He's not driving the Bronco down the highway, double murder, glove doesn't fit. This is not to that level. This is a huge misunderstanding, as Scotty Scheffler phrased it himself, but it was it was quite the moment.
Incredible moment. And there was another moment that bookended everything, White James. I'm going to jump ahead to the man who won the entire tournament, the man who I've been rooting for ever to bring it home at a time like this.
To win it all. Xander with victory at Valhalla.
Just gotta let it breathe. Gotta let it breathe. I mean, that is a moment that man has been waiting for ever as well. And White James, I'm not gonna act as if I have a tear in my eye, but I do have a lump in my throat every time I see that moment. I really couldn't believe it. I literally replayed it dozens and dozens of times on Sunday. Like, it has happened. Xander finally got one done. And what should really be noted is this is not a fluky win vis-a-vis the venue. I do agree that Valhalla itself, due to all the rain and whatnot, did not really stand up as a high challenge course. But you look at his final score, 21 under par. That is the lowest score to par of any major championship winner ever. And I think we have to give him a lot of credit for what he did on day one. I think it was a 10 under. It was apologies for not having it here available, but
62.
A 62
ties his own record from last year, along with I think 3 other guys have shot a major round of 62.
Thank you. So this guy, he has the hottest hand in golf. He's been in countless top 10s in majors, to be exact. He's had 12 top 10s in majors. And people are like, okay, is this guy just choking it away? Is this guy not able to get it done in crunch time? He had just faltered the week prior, losing to Rory in, I believe, the Wells Fargo Championship. So that narrative was very, very fresh. But when you look at history, there are many, many people who had to wait a very long time before winning their first major. I believe Phil Mickelson had north of 10 plus top 10s before he finally got his first major. Look at Ben Hogan. He had 2 runner-ups before he won his first major. He had 3 top 3s before he won his first major. And he had 12 top 10s before he won his first major. All numbers nearly identical to Xander. So if people look at Ben as one of the world's greatest or history's greatest to do it, it quote unquote took him just as long to break through as it has taken Xander to get through. And yeah, White James, I won't harp on this too much longer other than to say that listeners of the show know that I'm forever picking Xander to perform well. Granted, I did not pick him to win, but I love the guy, and I'm incredibly ecstatic for this outcome.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, but Xander is not. He's not a big personality. He's a real. I saw him on Dan Patrick. I think yesterday, Tuesday, Monday, whichever day it was. He was coming off the celebration, but he's a quiet guy, man of few words. Keeps to himself. So if everyone wants the next great personality for golf, this isn't it.
No.
For the diehard hardcore golf fan like yourself, you understand this is he was the proverbial best player to never win a major. Check it off the list. 21 under, like you said, a great performance on a course that, let's be honest, despite being long, it was easy because of the rain. I want to ask you as a golf fan, are you wanting to see in major championships a huge challenging course? I've got the numbers for the US Open, which has historically been their goal is to make it as difficult as a course as possible. You go back as recently as 2018, the winning score was 1 over par. 2013, 2012, 1 over. You go back 2007, 2006, the winning score was 5 over par.
Holy
that's a
smokes.
That's a little on the extreme side, like, right? I remember 2005 was, or excuse me, 2006 was the famous Phil Mickelson at winged foot, goes driver on 18, slices it way off, blows it, but it was playing ridiculously difficult, fast greens, thick rough, all that stuff. You obviously won't get the fast greens when you get, rain Thursday, Friday of a tournament. It just sets up the course to play soft, to play slow, to play easier. But do you, as a fan, do you like to see, rough that's like impossible to play out of, where you have to be absolutely perfect, otherwise you're going to be hitting bogeys, double bogeys all the time? Or do you like to see great players have the opportunity to make birdies, where it's not like you're trying to survive on the course? Like you genuinely can go out and shoot a low score. Like what does Black James like to see on his golf, in his golf?
I need to know that these guys are human too. That is why I'm a fan of Bethpage Black. I'm a fan of the audacity of a warning sign before you step out onto an 18-hole course. And if Pinehurst number 2 can offer an average score of 4 or 5 over par, that is exactly what I am signing up for. I need to see that these guys are being pushed to the limit, and that is what I do love most about the U.S. Open. It being on Fox, not so much, depending on if a certain somebody's doing the announcing, but everything else about that tournament and majors in general, people have no idea just how much elevation change there is at Augusta, and then the PGA, I don't think they always get the best courses, and then U.S. Open, as tough as possible, and then the British is kind of like the unofficial international major, and that has its own wonderful challenges via St. George's, Birkdale, Carnoustie, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, bro, it's got to be challenging. I want them to be facing a mini golf hole with 3 windmills to get through. Darn near impossible.
All right, that's fair. And let me throw, I did put this on the rundown, but how do you feel about the PGA Championship in May? Because I feel like the golf kind of did a disservice to itself, moving it from its traditional August date to earlier in the year in May for a couple reasons. One, you take out northern courses, right? Like Whistling Straits is a difficult course, and it hosted, I believe it hosted 2 PGA Championships.
Yeah, VJ
3
Singh,
actually,
Jason
2004,
Day.
2004, 2010, 2015. 2010, I believe, was the Dustin Johnson buried the club in a bunker that wasn't really a bunker, but it was a bunker. Martin Keimer was the actual winner of that tournament. But the August, if you want to make a challenging golf course, by the time you get to August, you had a summer's worth of heat and sun, dries everything out, makes everything fast. You put it in May, I mean, you're just asking for easier conditions. I mean, I understand the PGA wants to get their season done before football season, thus making a August major kind of conflict with them trying to be done by Labor Day. And I get it. The old calendar, you had April for the Masters, and then you didn't have anything till the U.S. Open in June.
Right.
But I kind of like the PGA kind of as that fourth and final. You've been through the whole summer. It's kind of always been the tournament for the people. Makes it, you've had some real random winners. If you like a good underdog, I always remember Sean McKeel, like 2002, just a guy out of absolute nowhere wins the PGA. I always liked it in that April slot, or excuse me, August slot. I don't know if it really matters, but do you get what I'm saying about a grass course, a golf course in May?
No, of course.
Is likely going to set up better or set up easier, as opposed to end of summer, August. I don't know. I just kind of just throw that out there.
No, I completely agree. I was very surprised when they made that move initially. I always thought that they could have just pushed back the players until after the Masters, but I know it's in its own spot on the schedule due to tradition, the players itself. So yeah, there is quite a large hole in programming from Masters until the U.S. Open. But when the PGA was in August, what little prestige it had was being the penultimate tournament of the year until you rolled into that FedEx Cup play stuff that even as a golf fan, I don't understand. So those are my 2 cents on that. Let me just say once again, many, many, many congratulations to Xander. Just so freaking proud of him.
And then anybody else you want to give a quick shout out for, good or bad? I mean, got your guy, or maybe not your guy, Bryson DeChambeau, so close. Second place for Mr. Live Golf. Anybody else catch your eyes having a good week or a bad week? I mean, we missed our prediction about Tiger not finishing his round, but missed the cut by quite a bit. Anybody out there you want to give a shout out, good or bad, for?
I'll just give I'm going to call him out in terms of trying to hold him accountable, in that this is now 2 majors in a row that Morikawa was in either the final round or second to last round, or second to last group. So in other words, he was very much in the hunt and was not able to make anything happen. I believe he had 1 birdie all day on Sunday. So yeah, that is a guy that I am always forever rooting for. And him and DeChambeau, they have two of the COVID majors. Sorry to put it that way, but that is how I put it. With the British being canceled that year, DeChambeau having the U.S. Open of that year, and Dustin Johnson having the Masters of that year. Morikawa pulled in the PGA of that year. And I just want him to win in front of a crowd. So he was in the second last grouping for the... No, he was in Scotty's grouping for the Masters, and then I believe he was in the second last grouping here during the PGA, and just was not able to really get it done.
Well, I see Morikawa won 2021 British Open. Fans or no fans?
Oh, gosh. Well, I guess that's two. I always forget about that one. My goodness. Well,
it might not have been a full... I mean, that's July of 21. You know, was everything back to normal? I don't know, but it's certainly... I'd still put the summer of 21 into the COVID era.
Just leaking out. Just leaking out.
Just leaking out. Well, enough for the golf for now. If we're still doing shows in June, I'm sure we'll talk plenty U.S. Open. But for now, just trying to keep things a little on the short side tonight. Still want to give the people what they need here on the Black and White podcast. So let's talk. I know we've kind of put this on the back burner as it's been going on, but let's talk NBA playoffs. Black James, let's start in the East game. Oh.
Had to do it.
We got to talk about playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs.
It gets me every time. So we're talking playoffs. Game 1, Tuesday night. Luckily, the tornado warnings didn't preempt NBA. I'm sure people would have been losing their minds if Mark Baden would have been cutting into.
Good point. Good point.
The basketball. Luckily, it was just. Yep. Oh yeah. So the Pacers blew game 1. Like there's no other way to put it.
Halliburton's free, gets it. Halliburton drives inside the arc. Final seconds. Halliburton just gets it off, flings it up, shot no good. Overtime.
I saw the stat. This is whoever's doing this research has too much time on their hands. First team since at least 1998 to have the ball up by at least 3 in the last 10 seconds in the playoffs and still lose.
Okay.
I mean, that is if you're into those win probability graphs.
I am.
I mean, this had to be in the 99.8 percentile win probability for the Pacers. Like it was, as Ted Davis used to say on the Bucks radio broadcast, it was in the bank and earning interest. I mean, I don't know how you choke that lead other than missing free throws. And they didn't even miss free throws. They turned the ball over twice in the last 27 seconds and then didn't commit what is in my book, automatic under 5 seconds foul before a team can shoot the tying 3. No excuses. Foul. Don't let them even get a look. I don't care who it is. Don't even let them get a look at a game tying 3, because what will happen is Jaylen Brown will make the shot, tie game. Tyrese Halliburton, here's the ball. I'm just going to dribble, 3-pointer, miss. Brick. So, Black James, I want to throw this out there to you right now. Is this going to be a series? Because we've seen it the first 2 rounds. Pacers lost game 1, came right back and won game 2. I believe both first and second round. Is Boston in for a fight, or is this the Pacers' one chance to really make this a series?
I mean, it's tough because you look at the Celtics' home record in the playoffs. I believe they're like 10-12, 10-13. It is atrocious. Oh, sorry. They're 16-15 in their last 31 home playoff games. So just barely above 500. If they had lost last night, they would be 15-16 at home. So, but for the Pacers' immense mental errors down the stretch, the Celtics should have a losing record at home in the playoffs as of this morning. It is only through sheer luck that Brown, a 22% shooter from that range, even hit that three to save their butts.
Tatum trying to get free. Throw it in the corner. Brown fakes, fires up the three. Bang! Bang! Jam!
That's my long-winded way of saying this ain't over. This ain't over. The Celtics are all but guaranteed to give up another game at home. And I think that by itself means the Pacers still have a chance if they're able to take care of things at their home court the way that they have been doing throughout the series.
Yeah, when you think about last round for Boston, I mean, they lost game 2 at home. They got thumped by Cleveland.
Right.
What'd they do? They went to Cleveland, won games 3 and 4, finished it out 5. Obviously, injuries played a factor for Cleveland. But this Boston team, it seems to be more of a mental hurdle with them. Like they're like trying to make things as difficult on themselves as possible. Because look, everything is setting up for them perfectly, right? I mean, you've avoided the Knicks in this Eastern Conference Finals. You know, you get the Pacers, who they play great offense, but they don't play hardly any defense. Like Denver's out in the West. Like everything is set up perfectly. But yet here they are in a position to lose game 1. And quite frankly, should have lost game 1. For me, psychologically, they need to destroy the Pacers in game 2. If they fluff around, they're gonna find out. Let's put it that way. Like if they let the Pacers believe that they can win this series, that I could totally see this coming back to Boston, game 5, 2-2. Like even if Boston wins game 2, but it's close again, and they haven't figured out how to slow the Pacers down, I think this series it'll be best of 3 at that point, game 5. I think the coaching advantage. I know NBA coaching doesn't contribute that much, but Rick Carlisle is a championship-winning coach for the Pacers, and they have their style. They love to play fast. They love to be physical, get up and down the court, make your run. They know who they are. They're not trying to be, they don't care that this is the playoffs and that things are supposed to slow down, become more half-court orientated. I mean, we saw it in the Bucks series. Like they don't care. It's the playoffs. And if they can play like that, this is going to be a series. But if Boston wakes up and says, you know what, we've been to a finals, we understand what it takes to win in the playoffs, and we only have to get 3 more of these wins to get to the finals. And Indiana has not shown, they showed how not to win a game.
Right.
Like, they showed how to lose a game. They did everything to lose. If they figure it out and say, all right, we know how to hit, how to hit big shots, how to not turn it over, how to play good defense, how to foul when you need to foul, this is going to be a series.
I can only wait and see. I in a funny way, I don't even know who I'm rooting for here because I don't really like either. So,
Blackface, I am 100% with you. Like, I mean, part of me likes to see the Celtics struggle, but I also, and I want to get to my next point right here real quick. A guy who's moving up the rankings of least favorite players in the league right now, I am not a big Tyrese Halliburton fan. This guy, I don't know, there's something he comes off as fake tough to me. Like when the Pacers are winning, he loves to run his mouth. but like he goes quiet. When he goes quiet, he goes really quiet. I remember game 1 against the Bucks, he had like 8 points. Like when he goes quiet, he completely shuts it down. Like he's great. He is the ultimate front runner, is what he is. When he's out and they're playing well, you think he owns the place. But when they're losing, he goes missing. And in big moments in game 1, and for me it was specifically the last, Pacers ball, 5 seconds to go, tie game. You don't need a 3. He runs like the wing 3 and tries to chuck it up and gets just backboard. Like that's terrible. That's a terrible shot. And like I don't know if this guy I don't know if he's got the cojones, if you will, to be like an elite NBA star. Like he puts up good numbers, 25 points, 10 assists, led the NBA in assists per game. Sure. I want to get your take. Are you buying Halliburton as this, first team NBA caliber point guard? Seems to be in the mix for Team USA this summer at the Olympics, or is he just a guy who's playing on a team that is going to sort of highlight his abilities, which there's nothing wrong with that, but is he a system guy, I guess, or what? Give me your take on Tyrese Halliburton.
For me, I just am not. I'm not following it. I'm not buying it. When it comes to the guys who are on the up and up in the East, I have one very simple answer. I have more faith in Donovan Mitchell than I do in Tyrese Halliburton. That's simple.
Okay, that's fair. And I think you are probably in the majority that. But look, he could lead this team to the finals, and I'm still gonna be hating on him. Let's put it that way. That's just the White James way. So let's wrap it up here. Quick prediction. I think this goes Celtics in 6.
Ooh, gosh. Nah, I'm going to go one less. I think Missoula is going to finally figure out that when you are up, you can't just play with your food. You got to just pounce, going for the kill. Give me Celtics in 5.
Okay, I like it. Quick thoughts here on the West. Game 1 going on as we record. Close one, third quarter, Dallas and Minnesota. Let's do an ESPN morning get up kind of question.
Yes.
Who is ready to lead his team to the finals? Is it Luka or is it Anthony Edwards?
Oh gosh, I mean, to answer this question, I do have to refer back to the time in which the Timberwolves really made themselves known to the world. I was watching Game 7 of Wolves Nuggets with my boy Cameron, shout out Cameron, and they were performing the largest comeback in a Game 7 in 25 years. They were down 20 points, and there was one point in which, of these two people you're asking me about, was given an opportunity to pretty much seal up the game.
Minnesota's biggest lead is 7. It's stolen by Conley. He pickpockets Murray. He gets it off to Reed. Corner, Edwards, and shoots. Score!
When Anthony Edwards hit that 3, oh, it was so smooth. I mean, this was with 3 minutes left in the game. It was off of yet another steal, yet another turnover by the Nuggets. And I just loved the way he had time to do one little bounce like he's in the Y. Just like, okay, let me just get my feet right. Let me make sure I'm in my spot. Drained it. They went up 92-82 at that moment. That, to me, White James, is when I realized I think this is Anthony Edwards' year to lead his team down the clutch. I know that the Dallas OKC series in that game 6 was down to the wire. In fact, it was OKC up by 1 point with 2.5 seconds left to go. And Dallas still found a way to come back and win that game. But Dallas feels more like a Kyrie redemption story and less so a Luka story, especially with Luka having struggled with left or right knee injury thus far in this postseason. So yeah, between those two, I really do believe it is going to be Ant-Man who is quote unquote more ready to leave their team in this series.
That is like a get-up question. I apologize to our listeners because they don't want to hear those kinds of questions. They want to hear. Let's talk about your boy Chuckster and inside the NBA. News coming out that TNT will no longer have rights for NBA. It's going to shift back to NBC, and what is one of the lamest names I've ever heard, Basketball Night in America, NBC, on the lazy train. That is a very booable offense.
That can't be for real. That's a working draft. That's a first draft, not a final draft.
They're literally going to go, oh, football night in America. Well, when Super Bowl is over, Sunday night will be basketball night in America.
Oh gosh, yeah. And they're gonna put Drew Brees on that show if I.
It'll probably be Melissa Taylor. No, that's not her name.
Melissa Taylor. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the ESPN former ESPN Marissa. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah. Anyways. Black James, I got a hot take, and this one actually is pretty hot.
Lay it on us.
I don't get the big deal about inside the NBA and why people are so upset about it.
Wow, that is a hot take.
And so here's my thing. I get it. That is entertaining. That the dynamic between Shaq and Chuckster, they kind of like goad each other and really get after each other at times. Kenny Smith is kind of mixing it in a little bit, but he usually kind of stays out of it. And then Ernie Johnson sitting there trying to figure out it's 2 a.m. We're trying to do television, and Chuckster's telling us about the women in San Antonio, about the nachos in Phoenix, all his
tear down Galveston. Yep.
I get it. It's entertaining, but it's not a great. They're not great basketball analysts.
No, I will agree with that.
That's maybe where people say, "Oh, it's a great show." It's a great entertaining show, but it's not like you're losing this like collection of, amazing analysts where you feel like you've actually learned something after watching them talk. Like I used to, and this is a real niche memory, but there used to be a show on ESPN called NFL Matchup with Ron Jaworski and I forget which other jabronis they had, but it was like in-depth, like breaking down NFL film. And I swear I learned more from that show about like what's actually going on in football than anything Terry Bradshaw ever said. And I get it, like the talking head shows, the pregame, the postgames aren't meant to be X's and O's. It's how did this win affects LeBron's legacy kind of thing. It's how do you tie LeBron into everything? Like that's what those guys are paid to do. But I don't know. Am I in the minority here? And you tell me that I want actual analysis. Like entertainment, I can find that anywhere, but I want actual, you saw, we got Minnesota Dallas tonight, post game. is wanting actual analysis. Is that put me in the minority, or where do you stand on this?
Well, my first question would be, do you think the Jet provides legitimate analysis? Because that seems to be the only person on that set who is actually designated with that role.
I mean, I feel like yes, but it's also like he's kind of, I don't say out of date, but I mean he's not, he hasn't played in the NBA in what, 25 years? Like you want someone who's been there at least somewhat recently. I don't know, it's like I don't have a good comparison, like who's a good NBA analyst, like I don't know, they have a lot of, like, I mean, like the Paul Pierces of the world. I don't know how, or Kendrick Perkins, like how does
Oh,
he
Lord.
doing, like ESPN, like they should be the ones losing, the rights here. But I don't know. I mean, I get the entertainment, I get it, but you see all these people on Twitter just saying, "Oh, I can't believe it's the last time we'll see it." They could do a YouTube show. Like if you really just want to watch Shaq and Chuck making fun of each other, like they can do that. Like it doesn't have to do anything with basketball. Like they could just go at each other. But I don't know. I mean, it's been a hot minute since I've like tuned in regularly. But I mean, I see them. I see the videos. So I mean, I know they're dynamic. But I mean, is this really as big of a deal as people are trying to make it?
For the value of entertainment, yes, this is a big deal. This is a cultural tentpole because of the interaction with the public, White James. That, to me, is what the big selling point is. The fact that you can find a GIF of Vince McMahon getting knocked out of a chair due to surprise, and then tag Inside the NBA on TNT when Chuckster's prediction of the Wolves winning comes through. Like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And everyone's like, ha ha ha, we're all laughing together. That for sure is the big point. Because if I want my analysis, White James, I'll tell you, I usually tune into Dan Patrick's show to see what Reggie Miller has to say, to see what Jim Jackson has to say, to just to see whatever recent
Legler with
thank
Tim
you.
Legler. He's good.
See what Legler has to say. Sometimes they've got Jamal Crawford on. So that is where I go if I want actual basketball analysis. And then sometimes Colin Cowherd, he'll have the mouthpieces, Chris Broussard, and who's that other haircut? Sometimes I'll go there if I want to hear more of like the gossipy side of what's going on in NBA news. But yeah, I'm right there with you. I do not pay any attention whatsoever to the ESPN studio show with Will Bond and Stephen A. Have never watched that. And yeah, Inside the NBA for me, though, that's where I go for my entertaining highlights and recaps of the game. So that's how it gets broken down for me. Dan Patrick for the true analysis, and Inside the NBA for just the fun analysis.
I'm with you. Dan Patrick is my, I don't want to say idol, because that's gay. But if I can emulate a style, a delivery, Dan Patrick is my guy. I'm telling you that right now for like sports radio. I mean, he does the interviews way better than I could ever do. But when he does a little monologue, DP, that's my guy. End of story.
Okay.
Black James, I gotta throw. I know we're sometimes we do turn into PTI. Got a little correction from last weekend.
Whoa!
Kind of went back and thought about it. I believe I said Champions League Soccer is on HBO Max. That is not true. It is on Paramount Plus, which I totally forgot to mention. If you want to watch soccer, you need a Paramount Plus subscription. So just tack that on to all your other streaming services if you want to watch sports. But we will leave that to last week's show. I just want to plug one thing because we've been talking to golf for you. Just want to plug on Sunday,
Heck yeah.
Sunday, the biggest day in motorsports in the world. You have the Monaco Grand Prix Formula One race in the morning. You have the Indy 500 in the late morning, early afternoon, and then you have the Coca-Cola 600 NASCAR race late afternoon into the night. It's like 11 hours of racing action. I sat through it all once. I wouldn't do it again. I shouldn't say that. It was good to just sit down and watch for literally 11 hours. It's the one day where, not the only day, but 3 prestigious events all line up on one day, Memorial Day weekend. If you want to tune in, go for it. If not, totally get it. But that is what White James will have his eye on this weekend.
You heard it here first, folks. It is Motor Weekend, Motor Memorial Day weekend. I think we went to Chicago 600. Am I remembering? That was the race that we went to in Illinois.
There's only 400, but Chicagoland, that was a good time. It was the race of the 2010s. So I just want to throw that out there.
Till next time, folks. Peace.